Hi guys, and welcome back to At Home with Elisa. Today I have some exciting news to share. I finally have a greenhouse and I'm so excited. I've wanted a greenhouse for probably about the last 5 years. However, in our last house that we were living at, we actually didn't have any room. We were completely maxed out. So we did not have any room for a greenhouse. So my goal with moving to this property was that one day I would get a greenhouse. Now we actually purchased it for Christmas last year just gone, and it's taken us quite a while to actually get around to putting it up. We did have some delays. We obviously had some weather events earlier this year which delayed us. We have had a lot of extreme weather so far this year and that slowed it down, and then we also got COVID as well, so that definitely put a stop to everything. I also wanted to wait until my husband was able to assist me, just obviously working around his work commitments. But where we put it down, it's actually on, like, it's a clay base, so it's really hard to dig into. So some of it is soil, some of it is clay. So I just wanted to make sure that he was on hand to actually help me out with it. Okay, let's go and have a look. So this here is my gorgeous little greenhouse. We actually only finished putting it up yesterday, so it's definitely still a work in progress, but I wanted to share it because I'm so excited about it. So this is a Vita XL and it's actually 190 centimeters across by 310 deep, and it obviously has a beautiful window up the top to let the heat out and a sliding door, which is fantastic. It gets so warm in there. Yesterday when we were actually building it, oh my goodness, it was a hot day and wow. So it's made of polycarbonate sheeting and aluminium, and we also received some extra polycarbonate sheets as well, just for obviously things like hailstorms and things like that. It won't survive those, and that's one of the reasons I really didn't want to go towards a glass one, because we do get a lot of hailstorms where we live in the summer and I didn't want anything shattering. So this, I can slip it out and replace it. So we started off doing the foundation. The foundation is just some H4 treated pine sleepers that I have painted, and my husband just sort of tried to level them out. It is a little bit of a slope on the land here, and we just put them down to try and level it out. We have had some flooding previously, and we wanted to build it up a little bit by having it on the sleepers so that we hopefully don't flood inside. We also had some fun when we were digging the foundation. We managed to find some grubs for the girls, and they were very happy that we were there digging them out for them. After we did the footings, then we managed to put the frame up, which is just the aluminium frame, and my goodness, I don't think I will ever do another flat pack again unless it's made by IKEA, because they are the king of flat packs and the king of instructions. So we put the frame together, and then literally the polycarbonate sheetings just clicked into place, which was so good. On the base, the majority of this flooring here is actually covered with some black plastic sheeting. You can actually see it in that far corner there. We did actually put it all on the base, but I did leave a little bit of drainage holes just in case I do get water, because obviously I'll be watering plants in here, but if I have any significant water, it will be able to drain away. And then we added the rocks just to build it up a little bit, and obviously allow for any drainage and flooding if it happens. So I titled this video Greenhouse Part 1 because I do have a Part 2 planned. Obviously I'll be moving some plants in here in the meantime, but this far wall here, this is our western facing wall, and where I live, the western sun is the really harsh summer sun. That's where the sun sets of an afternoon and it gets really hot, and it's also where our storms come from. So that wall there, I'm actually looking at blocking it in so it won't be clear. It will be hopefully a VJ board of some sort, and I will block that and give a little bit more protection in here from the western sun. I'd also like to set up, you can see I've set up just a little table here. It's just got a few things that I need to keep out of the weather, but it is something that I'm looking at doing permanently, is getting a really lovely, I'd love to get a really old wooden desk and have that set up in here as well so that I can work at it. We've lost so many things to the elements here. I'm just talking like products like compost, fertilizers, that there is rose food. I lost so many bags of products just because we didn't have any protection from the elements. So obviously our gardening section is a little bit further away from our tiny homes. Our tiny homes are jam-packed because they're tiny. However, we didn't have any storage area down here, so the ability now to be able to store things like compost and fertilizers and sprays and things without them actually getting weather damage is just fantastic and makes me so happy. So along with the greenhouse that we actually erected, we also set out a little area over here, which obviously will be fenced in. I plan on putting some gardens right up to here, but this little area here is what I call my utility area. So I have a little potting bench over in the corner. I have all the things that I need. I have pots underneath that table. That is my IBC, which I have, it's not filled at the moment, but that's where I store all the water for the garden. We do top it up from the house water or rainfall. And this just underneath here, I keep that protected as well, is actually my pump for the water that helps pump it out of the IBC. So I have all my garden tools able to be stored over here, my stakes. At the moment, obviously you can see we're still doing rainwater collection, the worm farm, and just a rubbish bin. So that little utility area will just come in so handy. It keeps all the really ugly side of things out of the way, and then that leaves more in my actual vegetable and cutting garden for me to actually put plants, so win. Something else that I just wanted to address too is that quite often a greenhouse in Australia, they can get way too hot in the summer, and even sometimes in the spring. We have really hot summers here, and that would then make this just a storage area in the summer. I would like to use it a little bit more than just a storage shed. So my plan is, I've just moved back a little bit so that you can see, but my plan is actually to put a grape arbor kind of way up nice and high over the top of this greenhouse. And the plan is that a grape arbor with beautiful grapes growing on it will, one, feed our family, but two, they're deciduous. So come summer, it will provide shade, and come winter, it will be bare. Can you imagine if I was able to provide different types of grapes for our family? We've actually already picked out two that we would really love to plant here, and also have a beautiful covered greenhouse area, and I'll extend it out here where I'm planning on putting a dining table just outside here. It will make it such a beautiful, entertaining area. So the plan over the next couple of days will be to actually set up in here, and I have a shelving unit which will go here, another one which will go here. They are they're cheap ones, they're temporary. I'm not sure exactly how I want to use the space, but I know that this is my northern side and it's the best light, so that's where my shelving units will go for my seedlings. The seedlings have actually been living up on our deck since I actually sowed them, so they will really benefit by coming down here. I've been so anxious to get them down here because they're taking up a lot of room on our deck, which obviously we have tiny homes, so we don't have a lot of space. So the deck is kind of like a really large outdoor living area for us. We spend most of our time during the day out there. So I'm definitely keen to actually get them down here, and I can look after them down here just as well. And I think they will love the position. They'll love the full sun. They don't get as much sun where they are at the moment, so I think it'll really benefit them. And also, having a large area like this to store seedlings, it'll mean that I have greater capacity to grow for the garden bed that I do have. It's quite a large garden bed. I think it's about 120 square meters or 160 square meters. It's quite a large size, and I like to do a lot of seed sowing, so I will be able to do all that now. And now that we've actually put our greenhouse in, it meant that all the things that were here, which was my IBC and my compost, as you can see, all those things have been moved, and look at the size of that in-ground garden bed I'm going to do. So obviously I still will need to have it surrounded by wood. I couldn't do a rock garden bed here. The reason being is that it does flood. I have seen water flooding over the top of it, and the wood will be actually able to stop the water, whereas rocks wouldn't. It would just wash away. So I'm planning a large in-ground garden bed here, and I cannot wait to get that started. So I'm so excited to finally have a greenhouse of my own and a utility area, and keep all those things hidden away that you don't necessarily want out, and have a really pretty garden, and an extra really large garden bed as well to grow in will be fantastic. I'm so excited about it all. So thank you so much for joining me today. I cannot wait to move all my seedlings in and even sow some more seeds. We're coming up towards our peak growing season, and I obviously have a lot that I want to try and accomplish. A lot of it with regards to vegetables will still be very experimental. I'm hoping that next year I can get some good returns, but right now I'm still learning about a lot of things. Flowers I'm a lot better at, but veggies I'm still definitely learning. The greenhouse will also provide an area where I can actually plant some things like tomatoes and keep them in pots. last year I had a whole heap of tomatoes, but with our weather event that we had, they all split, so we actually weren't able to enjoy any of them. So I'm thinking, I planted extra seeds, and I'm thinking that I might be able to actually keep some in the greenhouse and obviously just pot them up as it's needed. And then that way, if we do get this weather event, which they are predicting coming again, that will mean then I'll still have some fruit. So that's what I'm thinking, and hopefully it means that I'll still get to taste some of our tomatoes. Because last year we only had the tiny tomatoes, and though they're lovely, I'd really love some big ones, especially with all the seeds that I'm sowing. So thank you so much for joining me here today. If you have liked the video, please consider subscribing, and I hope you have a lovely day.